Internet, Eric here. Well, as of this recording, it's been almost a week since we did our Stephen King episode of Two Bearded Losers. Haven't been it hasn't been uploaded yet because man, that was something. It ended up being like a 4 hour conversation of well, it started out with a good conversation, and it ended up into being a lot of slap happy drunkenness, but that'll be uploaded sometime soon. Usual time, I think, audio Saturday, video next Monday. Anyways, in that conversation, one of the many subjects we talked about Stephen King wise, and we mainly focused on the movies, was we talked about the miniseries. And Frenzy talked about how pretty much all the miniseries sucked, although he is a big fan of the It one. And that just got us talking, and it made me think. It reminded me that he gave me a care package of the Stephen King miniseries once before, and over that weekend I tried to watch, and I'm going to discuss the Langoliers. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I discuss plot spoilers, specific scenes, what have you. This came out in '95. 1995, so after It and after The Stand. Directed by Tom Holland, who directed the original Child's Play and the original Fright Night, so what could go wrong, right? Anyways, basic plot of this is we're following a group of characters, maybe 5 or 6, who are on a plane going from here to there. They are all asleep. When they wake up, they find out that they're the only ones left, apparently, in the world. It's like it's been the fucking rapture. They're walking down the aisles. No one's there but the ones that were asleep. Everyone's personal items were strewn everywhere. When they finally land, they get to this. They get to the airport, and a lot of weird things are happening because they don't hear the sound of their shoes on the pavement. Beer tastes flat, soda tastes flat. They can't light matches, that sort of thing. So they're trying to wonder where the hell they are, and all the while they're trying to deal with a very eccentric character named Mr. Toomey. I can't remember his first name, so I'm just gonna call him Toomey. Who was trying to get to a business meeting where he was going to tell his boss he lost $45 million or something like that. He's played by Bronson Pinchot from Perfect Strangers, and this guy is completely insane, like seriously, like cocaine fueled insane. And he is telling them that if they don't get out of there, the Langoliers will show up and eat them. And what the Langoliers were he was severely abused by his dad mentally, and his dad would tell him that do what you're supposed to do, or the Langoliers will come and eat you for being lazy, type of thing. So they're trying. The group of people are trying to get home, find out where they are, or find out where they are, get home while all dealing with crazy Belky Bartakamus. Um, I remember the reputation of this movie. Okay, I'd seen it once when it first came out on VHS, and it was in one of these. I rented it from the video store. It was in like one of these, 2 VHS tape collections because it's like 3 hours long. And I remember being really fucking bored. And then my wife and I don't remember if we were married at the time, but we watched it. And we were really fucking bored. So I watched it this time over Easter weekend. I was really fucking bored. We'll get to it. First off, the acting is surprisingly pretty dull considering some of the cast in here. We have Dean Stockwell from Quantum Leap. He's I think he's a sci-fi novelist or something like that, and he just looks very tired to be here. His line delivery is very tired. He's just always talking like this and looking around and grabbing his head and complaining of headaches. He's horrible. Uh, David Morse, who I really enjoy. He's in Horns. He's in The Green Mile. He's brutal in The Green Mile. 16 Blocks. He's one of those actors. Always really good. He's just there in a badly grown mustache, just sitting there reading his lines, wishing he wasn't there. You can tell. The other actors are just another guy who plays Barney from the Silence of the Lambs Hannibal Lecter movies. He's there because they probably needed a black guy. They have a blind girl who must have The Shining, because every now and then Stephen King will sprinkle in characters that have The Shining. Um, Looks kind of like a very young Matt Murdock. because she's got the black glasses and the short boy haircut, and she's probably the worst actor out of them all. And you got two girls thrown in there, and they suck. You got a blonde dude thrown in there who they have to make look like a nerd. He sucks. And then you have Bronson Pinchot, who I think realized how bad this script was, how bad the performances were, and he says, if anyone's going to remember anything from this movie, it's going to be my performance. And that is true. He sucks. But it's one of those performances that you have to watch. It's like, and not necessarily a good thing, it's like Tommy Wiseau in The Room, or Mark Wahlberg in The Happening, or Mark Wahlberg in Fear, or Mark Wahlberg in, you get it. He screams, he's so over the top, he is bug-eyed and weird, and he screeches all the time, he yells and screams, and it's just an amazing amount of overacting that you just can't take your eyes away from. Like, if he wasn't in this movie, I would have turned it off. Because I wanted to know what this guy was going to do next because of how insane he was in this. And that's not necessarily a good thing, but it's one of those, I gotta find out what he's going to do next in a 3 hour long movie. And that's the main problem of this, is it's 3 hours long of nothing. They're flying in the airplane. Nothing's happening. They land. Nothing's happening. They're in the airport where everyone's gone, trying to find out where they are. Nothing happens. Why was this made into a miniseries? This could have been 90 minutes if they needed to. They could have cut out a bunch of stuff of them just walking around doing nothing. And that's the major problem with this. It's not the bad acting. It's not the bad CGI, which we're going to fucking get to. It's the fact that nobody does a goddamn thing in this movie. That's why it took me... Let's see. I started it on Sunday. And I couldn't finish it until... Today's Thursday. I finished it Tuesday. So it took me 3 days. Like an hour a day to finish this movie because nothing happens. I was getting so bored. What I was doing is I was doing like a little bit of a running picture commentary on like Twitter, on the Two Bearded Losers Twitter and Instagram, and I'm just making funny captions, and they were all about, crazy Bronson Pinchot as if he was like the Balky character, because I was that bored. I was that disinterested, and the only thing that kept me interested was Bronson Pinchot. Now let's get to the bad CGI. That is what everyone mentions in this movie. And yes, I know it was like on NBC or ABC, so it's a miniseries on network television. So that means the budget is at $0. The best looking special effect is the and you find out eventually that they have gone in like I think a time warp or a rip in time where, because they were asleep. They go into a rip in time, and they're either in the past where time hasn't caught up to them, or they're in the future where time hasn't caught up. Something really stupid and obnoxious. And the only good type of special effect, I think, is what I've gone on to call the space vagina or the sky vagina. It is when you finally see the rip in time. And yes, as as bad as that looks, that's the best looking part in this movie. The plane is completely CGI and horrible. This is like not the Langoliers though. This is the Langoliers. This is like Tommy Knackers bad when it comes to CGI. Like when Tracy Lords opens up her lipstick and it turns into lasers. It's that type of bad. But the biggest offender is when we finally get to see the Langoliers. We got all this buildup of the Langoliers. The Langoliers are coming. The Langoliers are coming. The British are coming. That's the whole thing. Bronson and everyone are saying that the Langoliers are going to come. And we get all this tease because we hear this noise, like this buzzing noise, this chomping noise. And, excuse me, when we see them, we just see like the background, like all these hills and these electrical towers. And we know they're back there and they're going to make their way closer. and eventually we start to see those electrical towers start to bend and twist and fall. The Langoliers are finally coming. So after 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes, the Langoliers are finally going to attack. And holy shit, are they a disappointment? We, I'm gonna have the thumbnail for this video be the pictures of the Langoliers. They look like CGI'd meatballs with. It's like if you ever seen Stranger Things, you know that creature in season 2 that like walked on all fours, but it had like a flower. My daughter called it flower face. It had the flower, it had the face, and it literally opened up like a petal. That's what it looks like. It looks like it opens up like a flower petal, but it's got chainsaw teeth. Flying meatballs with chainsaw teeth. Definitely sounds like a cocaine fueled idea of Stephen King. But man, this is a budget of like 50 cents. They look horrible. The chainsaw teeth are comical. This is like a sci-fi channel budget. Like current sci-fi channel budget. It's that horrible. And when they go through they're eating through the concrete just disappears. Like it's bad. Like I something I could have typed on like I don't know, like my Dell computer from like that long ago. It's that bad. And I don't know if Tom Holland is proud of that. I don't think he should be proud of that because it looks horrible. Unless it's because he was just given a budget of like $2.50. That's the biggest disappointment of this movie. Is the Langoliers finally show up? They look comical, laughable, and they chase Bronson Pinchot and they finally eat him off screen, and that's it. It's over. No more. You think. We still have 45 minutes to go. And we have 45 minutes to go from them to try to get from. They finally figure out that they're in the time warp or whatever. They all get inside the plane after Matt Murdock has been stabbed. Like she used her shining to get Bronson Pinchot out to chase the flying meatballs so they can make their escape. She dies after getting stabbed. So whoop-de-doo. It's not like we cared about her anyway. She's like the worst actor in this whole thing. Like when she gets stabbed, it's really really bad. It's overacting. When she's scared, it's overacting. When she does anything, it's overacting. And it's like, I know I hate child actors, but she's one of the worst in this one. And that says a lot because like I really hate the kid from Leprechaun, Robert High Gorman. He's nothing compared to her. So they finally get in the plane and they find out that they have to be asleep to fly through the space vagina and get home without disappearing because that's how they still lived. And so they realize they're gonna turn down the oxygen in the plane so they'll all pass out. And we got the lead guy that's not David Morse. You find out he's a hitman or something like that. And so he's already lived a tough life and blah blah blah, and he should pay for his sins or something stupid. So he's gonna fly the plane through the space vagina, put it on autopilot, while David Morse wakes up and lands him safely. Flying through the space vagina, and he's looking at it, he's talking about how beautiful it looks and this and that, and he's ready for it, and like it really is getting sexual here and over the top funny. They fly through, they land. They're still there all by themselves, but suddenly they can hear, the noise walking on the concrete. They eat a sandwich. Sandwich has taste to it or something like that. They drink soda. Soda has fizz, and then they realize that they're now in the future, but the past hasn't caught up with them or something like that. So they have to get out of the way. They go against the like one of the walls so they can get out of the way of oncoming traffic, I guess. We get these weird LSD like neon lights shooting at us, and then suddenly the present catches up to them. Everyone's happy, and they literally. Now I'm making fun of this movie because Bronson Pinchot is in it and he was in Perfect Strangers. They literally are hand in hand running through the terminal, so happy that they're home, which is fine, but it ends in a freeze frame. The nerd guy literally is jumping in the air because he's so fucking happy. Everyone else is, that type of bullshit. I'm like, that's how this movie ended. 3 hours of space vaginas, CGI meatballs, and a TGIF type of ending. This movie was bad. Not the worst movie not the worst movie. Is it the worst movie I've ever reviewed? No, the Todd Bridges movie was pretty lame, and I fucking hated Easter Bunny Bloodbath. It's worth watching for Bronson Pinchot's horrible performance, over the top performance, and Stephen King does as a cameo, you know, as I guess Bronson's boss. Man, cut out an hour and a half of this movie, and then have them actually do something. That'll make it more watchable. Not a fan of Stephen King's Langoliers. I do not recommend it. Maybe just go on YouTube and type in the best of Bronson Pinchot Langoliers. There's gotta be someone's gotta have edited all that shit into this, or at least watch the Nostalgia Critics video of it. I do not recommend this at all. Dean Stockwell and David Morris, great actors. Even they sucked in this. They knew that there was nothing to come out of it, and they were fucking bored. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Frenchie was at least right about this miniseries. Sucking. Tom Holland, the man who did the first Child's Play and the first Fright Night. Disappointing. Those movies are fucking great. Anyways, like and subscribe, all that crap. Comment below. Tell me if you like this. Tell me why. Maybe I'm being too hard. Probably not. Yeah, click the bell. Comment below. Already said that. Cheers.